This is George Lynch, Mr. Scary, and you're listening to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience.
And welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience here on 90.3 WMSC up in Montclair. This is your host, Chris. I have a very special guest on the line. You might know him from his time in Dokken, the End Machine, KXM, or from his solo band, Lynch Mob. We have the heavyweight guitarist, George Lynch. How you doing, my friend?
Good. Heavyweight.
Well,
I'm like $175, so I don't know.
Well, you're just such a prominent figure in this industry, in the music scene, and everything you've been doing. And you guys actually have a brand new record, Heavy Hitters, that you did, a nice little covers album with Pilson, Jeff Pilson, and I thought it was appropriate to call you a heavyweight.
Oh, I get it. The Heavy Hitters, heavyweight. I didn't make that connection.
It's okay. It's not my best work right there. But anyway, congratulations on the brand new record, the covers record. I thought it was really cool, a nice idea. 11 tracks. Well, technically 10. You put a nice little bonus track in there. How did this idea start? Did it start during COVID because you guys had so much free time? Or is it something that you just always wanted to do and the quarantine kind of made it available for you?
Well, we were in the process of doing the record when everything shut down, and then we had to kind of relearn how to make records remotely. And so in some sense, there was some blessing built into that situation because we learned a new way to work, which is I actually like working that way. And so I've been very prolific and productive working at like that the last year. But no, the project started a year before in 2019 when Cleopatra re-released the LP record With It Underground, and we needed a bonus track. So what we did is we got together with Will Martin and did a cover of a contemporary pop song and included that as a bonus track on the re-release of the LP record on Cleopatra Records. And Cleopatra asked us if we would be interested in doing a whole record like that, which is a Heavy Hitters album. And so we stuck with Will and Jeff and I, and we got Brian Tichy again, who played on the bonus track. And just took we decided the formula would be take two songs from every decade. So we get a mix of eras and genres and some of our songs that we learned from when we were young, and also other things that songs that we enjoyed listening to when, through ensuing decades, like Ordinary World, which is a song that Jeff and I both loved. And, weren't big Duran Duran fans, but we loved that particular song. So that would be awesome to be able to actually play that song. And so that's how it started.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I think it's fun, especially with everything you've done. If you just look at your discography, it's overwhelming how many projects and records you put out. It's awesome to be able to put out that many things, and then you're still doing stuff like this, which is you're having fun with it. And I think that doing like a Carole King cover, not many bands or artists would do that. You know what I mean? When they're from like metal bands and stuff like that. But you did it, and you guys did it really well. And I think one of the tracks that like gets stuck in my head a lot is the first track, the Joan Osborne cover, "One of Us." I think that one really gets stuck in my head. Which one gets stuck in your head, or which one is the one that you really wanted to do?
One of Us and Ordinary World, and let's see, Music, the Madonna song. Those three are, I think, my top three. And I'd have to actually add You Got the Love, the Rufus song. That's number 4. So I'd say I've got 4 that are my I can only pick, that's my cream of the crop of the record right there.
Of course. Usually when you ask a band member or an artist when, like, hey, which is your favorite song on the record, they're usually like all of them, because they wouldn't be on the record if I didn't love them all, you know what I mean? So
not that simple, because you don't really know how it's going to come out till you do it, and then you know if it worked or not. You might get a couple that fell through the cracks or didn't quite live up to your expectations of what you'd hoped to achieve. So And that happened on this record in a couple instances. But they're not, the songs that other people may love, So, and I've heard people say that, they love this particular track. And I'm like, well, I don't know if we really nailed it on that one. but for 75% of the record, I think we did, do it justice and did songs different enough to justify doing a cover, because I really don't like doing or listening to covers that are just mimicking the original, because I don't understand the point of doing that. So.
Was there a song that you tried out, like you and Jeff tried, and it just didn't work out?
No. We did every song that we recorded ended up on the record. We didn't do any superfluous recording. We didn't do any extra safety tracks or anything like that,
Okay.
Which would have been a good idea. But, I mean, doing records these days are, kind of time sensitive, and you have to be economical about everything you do to make it, to be productive and make it economically viable. So you have this tricky balance of, you want to maintain standard of quality and artistic integrity and all these things, wonderful things, but they have the added challenge of doing it on a budget, so, which I think is healthy, because what I found is we compared to the bad old days, we spend our time being very productive. We back in the day, we throw a bunch of money at us and we just sit around and, eat sushi and not show up and get high and, and which is rock and roll, I guess, but,
yeah.
Wasted a tremendous amount of time and money. We don't do that anymore. But the other side of the coin is, we don't have the luxury of, embellishments and maybe spending extra time, dotting every T or dotting every I and crossing every T, so to speak. So, yeah, it would have been nice to spend an extra, amount of time, say a week or whatever, and doing a few extra songs just for insurance, which is something we used to do routinely. On records that we, Dokken, Lynch Mob, whatever, we'd always do a few extra songs just in case something didn't work out. Some bands even go, they'll write 35 songs before they filter it down to the, 10 that they're going to actually put on the record. But we don't do that. We just figured, we're just going to be lean and mean, write everything we want to, write everything or include every song we're going to include, and we're just going to make them all work, and they're going to be great. And we'll work to, and I would say there's a couple of songs on here that I'm not really super excited about. There's a couple. I was probably doing this wrong thing to say on an interview. We were promoting an album, but it's not that they're bad. It's just that I was never an REM fan at all, and so we did the REM song at the behest of the label because it was sort of topical and timely with everything that's going on in the world as we know it. So that made sense. But the song itself, I'm not really a fan of, so it was hard for me to really get my head wrapped around that one.
So the label had a say in the songs you picked, or was it just you and Jeff?
Well, recommendations. But, we're friends with the label, and we've worked with them for a lot of years, and I respect their ideas. It's not like a suit telling us what to do. They're musical people, and they have really good ideas. And we asked for their involvement. They didn't dictate anything to us, but there seemed to be a consensus across the board, and including that song, because of the the lyrics are talking about and what we're all going through.
Well, I know you're a busy guy, and you actually have other projects coming down the line. I heard you have a new project called the Banishment as well.
Yeah, sort of industrial-esque project that I'm working with a gentleman named Hayes, who's a programmer, industrial remixer, engineer, super engineer, keyboard player, plays guitar and Lords of Acid. And we've been friends for, a whole bunch of years, and we started this project about 6-7 years ago, and have worked off and on it for ever since, and gone through a bunch of different singers. Mandy Line from World War III was the original singer, and then Tommy Victor from Tron was the singer for a while. He sang on a couple songs, which we will release at some point. And our singer at the present time is Devix. and he's an actor, and he's comes from the ministry camp, and he's and we call it. It's not really industrial music. We call it a dream punk, and it's I don't even know what that means, but it's just kind of this amorphous thing. It's a lot of machines and very dense, and it's kind of like I listen to the Prodigy or something, and I'm like, man, I'd sure like to be in that band. What would I do in that band? If I could put George Lynch in the Prodigy, that's kind of what I was aiming for. And Hayes brought a different thing to it. Devick's brought a different thing to it. So it's kind of its own thing. It's very, very difficult to describe. But we have a campaign, an Indiegogo campaign, and trying to raise some money to finish the record. We plan to have it out in February, releasing a new track here in the next week, I think, or so. Just to keep people interested, let them know what it's all about.
Is there like a huge sign of relief or something? Because you said you've been working on this for 6 years, and it's finally gonna. You said February it's gonna be dropping, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you feel relieved to finally get it out?
Well, it's the never-ending album, so I'm over feeling anticipating any relief of transitional point where we actually said, okay, this thing is actually out, because it's the job is never done. I mean, you're always, even after you release music, I mean, you're promoting it, you're still working, and we hope to get it out on the label at some point as well, and really, we're very anxious actually and excited about doing another record. I mean, because this record has been around so long, I mean, we're finishing up the vocals on it and getting everything mixed and stuff, but these songs have been around for a long time, and we've been working on them and re-editing them and fixing them up. And so we really feel like, man, it would be great to, now that we have this unit, with Devick and Hayes and myself, to just get back in and, okay, let's take this and let's do this, but let's do it right. It's not that we did it wrong, but I mean, let's do it without having to get 3 different singers and without, having to spend 7 years.
And does this have anything, is this going to be correlating? Because I think you're working on an instrumental record as well, right?
It's done. It's ready. It's been done for a while. It's called Seamless. It's going to be on Rat Pack Records. And I just spoke to the head of the label yesterday, actually, and they're going to try to work it into a release maybe mid-year, maybe the latter part of the summer, back end of the summer, maybe September.
Wow. Okay. So when you're writing for these projects, or like whenever you're just sitting home writing and playing your guitar and stuff like that, do you know what's going to go for what project, or do you just like put your riffs or songs away in a vault and be like, hey, whenever a project comes up, maybe I'll use it for this? Like, it's just there.
For the most part, I know what it's going to be for, and I tag it as such. So, like, we're in pre-production for KXM4 right now. I was in Nashville working with Ray, and we wrote 3 songs. And so what I do is I have this point of reference, which is my little recording setup that I carry with me at all times, and even if I don't have a guitar and I can think of an idea, and even if I like mimic it, by voicing it out, or the drum beat or the melody or whatever it is, and I try to describe it. But usually it's a guitar, and I play the part, and then I tag it. This is KXM4. If it's Sweet and Lynch, which I'm going to be doing a third Sweet and Lynch record in the fall, I tag it Sweet and Lynch. So when we get to that point, pre-production, where I need to write for that project, I'll already have some ideas cataloged that I thought might be potential material, to build off of. So it'll be, I'll come up with something not with the intention of writing for that project, but I'll just be playing, and then I'll catch something. I really like this chord change or this riff, and I record it, and then I go, well, what would I use that for? And then I tag it if it's obvious.
Wow. So you have another record coming. You just have projects after projects, working on. Is there a type of music that you really want to explore? Is there any like project coming out that you think is going to be really like left field?
Well, the banishment will probably piss some, legacy fans off, I imagine, unfortunately. Or, I hope not. But, it's very different from what, my kind of normal thing is. But I've got an Ultraphonix record coming out actually very soon. That's with Corey Glover. And I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's a project that we did. It started out with the singer from Fishbone and the bass player from War, the bass player and drummer from War. It was originally called The Infidels. Then it became Project Infidelica when we started working with Angelo from Fishbone. And we recorded a record with Angelo. And we put it out. And we toured on it. And then we got back together, but this time without Angelo, and we used Corey Glover from Living Colour. And Corey, and we did a record, the Ultraphonix record. And that came out, and we didn't tour on it. But we went back into the studio after we did that Ultraphonix record, and we did a live recording of just record everything we played in 2 days. And we set up and played live in old school analog studios, really cool. And I played through, small Fender amps, and Corey played through another one of my amps through a guitar pedal board and had all these effects and stuff. And it was just experimental, weird, awesome. And we did, we sat down with a grand piano and wrote songs and, all kinds of different things. And it's kind of, it's got a lot of rough edges and stuff, but we're literally just flying by the seat of our pants, making up stuff very quickly. And we recorded a whole album's worth of stuff in 2 days. And that's going to be coming out. I don't know what it's called. It's coming out on Air Music next probably few months or something. So that'll probably, that's pretty different. Very kind of a lot of R&B stuff in there. I wrote a song that was, it could almost be a Marvin Gaye song or a Sam Cooke song, something. That's just mostly piano, very R&B.
Well, that's all pretty awesome. 2 days of doing it. That's killer. And before I let you go, I just want to ask: are you going to be doing a live stream right now? Because you can't really play shows, or maybe you can in some places. But do you have any plans of playing this Heavy Hitters album? No. We're gonna do a couple videos at the end of the month, but we're doing them in a way like everyone else, just very remotely, independently, without anybody around, outdoors. And that's what we have to do at this point. So that's but as far as playing live, no. We're not going to play live. I'm not really subscribing to the gigs you just described, where you do what is it? Where you kind of get in the studio and live stream. Yeah, we. The only thing I do is I do Instagram. In my studio at home. Every week or so, I'll just be jamming and I'll just push record on my iPhone and I'll post it on Instagram. And it's just me just doing what I do when I come in my studio and practice. So it's like kind of a fly on the wall thing. But, it's not designed to impress anybody or anything. But other than that, there's no live anything scheduled live. We have things scheduled, but there's no way it's going to happen. I don't see that it happening yet. But everybody's just chomping at the bit to get out there, obviously, and people are just dying to hear something. So as soon as we can, I think the floodgates are going to open. Every band is going to be out there wanting to play, and I don't even think there's going to be the capacity to accommodate all the musicians and bands that are going to be flooding the venues. That might be a problem. I don't know. Yeah, it's
too much music.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of bands out there and a lot of new album cycles and all that. But I just want to say thank you, George, for joining the show. It was a pleasure talking to you. Heavy Hitters from Cleopatra Records. Awesome job. Love the covers. And again, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you, Chris. Talk soon.